Hello, everybody. Welcome out to podcast number 488. Today, we're going to talk about why we should create engagement with our people. Stay with us.
This is the Elevate Construction Podcast, delivering remarkable content for workers, leaders, and companies in construction wanting to take their next step. Get ready to step out of your comfort zone with Jason Schroeder as he encourages you to do better, live a remarkable life, and expect more. Let's go.
Welcome, everybody. I hope you're doing well. I wanted to do this quick little podcast based on a post that I saw on LinkedIn. I'm actually in a Courtyard by Marriott in Indianapolis, and it's 12:46 a.m. That's insane. Why in the world am I doing a podcast right now? Anyway, so I'm not going to give you all of the, the front, scaffolding type stuff for the podcast tonight. I'm going to get right to it. This should be a shorter one, but I was thinking about this post, and it really struck me that there's more to this subject. I read this, and somebody had defined the word respect as it pertains to construction, and this was their definition. Engage and empower the people closest to the work so that they can assess the current condition, create solutions to problems, and standardize what's working. Now, the people that, if somebody scrutinized what I wrote to the nth degree, they could find a million different things wrong with it. So I need to be somewhat charitable about the definition here and not be too nitpicky about the words. So let's take what the writers actually meant and separate it from what is actually written. So what's written here is wrong, but what they meant is probably pretty close to being right and probably more spot on than we think. Okay, so let's go ahead and do this. This started because a lot of people, one of the buzzwords kind of in the industry, or the buzz phrases, is respect for people, respect for workers, respect, right? And so the question came, what does respect mean to you? And it anchored us back to this comment that respect meant engage and empower the people closest to the work so that they can assess the current condition, create solutions to problems, and standardize what's working. And somebody tagged me and said, Jason, what do you think? And I'm normally not in the business, actually not normally, I'm never in the business of trolling somebody's post and being contrary in any way, shape, or form. But if somebody asks me, I'll definitely tell them what I think. And what I said was, I believe that whoever wrote this probably had good intentions, but it's incorrect. And here's why. So let me take you through this. Engage and empower the people. Great. I love that. We should be engaging people. We should be empowering people. I would add to that, we should be keeping people safe, respecting them, talking to them, keeping their family safe, making sure that they have clean and organized environments to work in, and that we're listening to them, right? So that's probably all implied in those two words. Engage and empower the people closest to the work. So I know what they're saying. What they're saying is, we need to get it all the way to the person sweeping the broom, not down to the person, over to the person, because they're on the same level as we are. But it is written improperly, meaning not just the people closest to the work. We should be respecting our owner. We should be respecting our neighbors. We should be respecting our trade partners, the workers. We should be respecting our vendors that come to the project site, and we should be respecting ourselves. And so that should be everyone. Respect should include everyone, not just the people closest to the work. And then here's where it really got me. So that they can assess the current condition, create solutions to problems, and standardize what's working. So we don't engage and empower the people closest to the work just so that they can assess the current condition, create solutions, and standardize what's working so that we can make money. So the phrase is written in a very limited way. Now let me go back to this real quick. The people that wrote this probably meant everything that I'm saying. But if somebody says how that's written, is that written well? No, that's not written well. And so I was like, probably not a big deal. But then I got to thinking about it. This is actually a problem. That in the industry, we have a give-get mentality. And I've talked to you before about the simulation. Silent Square is absolutely amazing. When you go through that simulation and experience it, everybody goes from a get to a get give to a give get, and only when they switch completely to a give first without expectation mentality do they solve the puzzle and win the game as a team. Let me say that again. It wasn't when they were in the get mentality. It wasn't when they were in the get give mentality. It wasn't when they were in the give get mentality. It was only when they got into a give first without expectation mentality that they solved that simulation and that puzzle. And I've seen that play out over and over and over and over again in my career. And I bet you have too. And so the problem that I have with this is that if we are, and I'm not just taking this from the words just triggered me to be thinking about it. There are so many out there that are implementing the last planner system, collaboration, open environments, huddle areas, just so that they can increase production, just so that they can increase profits, just so that they can have a return. And I'll tell you why it really got my feathers ruffled a little bit is because that is the problem. People constantly are like, workers are the problem. We don't have skilled labor. We don't have skilled labor. We COVID-19, we don't have skilled labor. That's actually not what's wrong with the construction industry. The construction industry is suffering right now because we've been treating people like crap. We've been treating people and trade partners and vendors like crap for so long that now people are getting tired of it, and it's hard to retain people. And they're not just out there figuring it out on their own like people used to when they were desperate and they had to figure it out because they couldn't get other jobs. Okay, we're not stuck in that situation where only college educated people get nice jobs nowadays. So what do we expect? Everybody's leaving and they're pissed off at us and they're not working here in construction anymore, right? That is the problem that we have right now. And it's because we don't respect people. And here's the root cause of it. We have people, superintendents, companies, business owners, project managers, deciding whether or not they'll respect people based on whether or not they have a budget for it and based on whether or not they're going to get a return for it. And so my point is this: we do not implement respect for people because we're going to get something in return. People deserve nice bathrooms because they're human beings. People deserve nice lunch areas because they're human beings. People deserve to be talked to in a morning worker huddle because they're human beings. People deserve a perfectly clean environment because they're human beings. People deserve the respect and the huddles and the coordination and to be listened to because they're human beings. That's it. Nothing else. Full stop. Period. There is no so that they can go solve our problems and make us money. No, they deserve those things. They deserve respect. They deserve engagement. They deserve being listened to. They deserve that support just simply because they were born on the earth. That's it. And so the reason it ruffled my feathers is because and I've talked to you all about this before, I'll go different places and they're like, yeah, I don't really have the budget for training. For us to actually go through and create a schedule, I can't afford that. We don't actually have something that we can code to get you out here and to support these workers. I would get this orthopedic specialist out here for the craft, but can you really get some comparable prices? This seems expensive. I don't have $15,000 in my project budget. That is what the situation that we're into. So when I tear apart these words that we're engaging and empowering the people closest to the work so that they can assess the current condition, create solutions to problems, and standardize what's working, and I'm giving this phrase a hard time, it's because it has so that they, so that they, so that they, so that they, so that they. And that leads to a mentality of, I'm going to give something so I can get something. And as soon as you stop getting something, then you stop giving something. Well, that is wrong. It doesn't matter if we have a budget for something. It doesn't matter if we're going to get something. We should provide these things no matter what. I personally don't care if you have a budget for cleaning restrooms 3 times a week. I personally don't care if you don't have the budget for a tent on your project site for a lunch area. I personally don't care if you think it's inconvenient to do a worker huddle. I personally don't care if you think your project is clean and organized enough. I personally don't care if you don't want to provide training or think you have a budget for it. I don't care. You should do those things anyway, just because these people are humans. That's it. And who do we think, even if the root cause of the problem of the industry right now was COVID-19 and a lack of worker training, whose fault do we think that is? Do we think that that was just some magical person that like decided to do this? Do we think that God's punishing us? Or do we think Satan's tempting us or whatever? Or is it us in 2007, 8, 9, and 10, and 11 deciding that we didn't have enough money or enough of a return on our investment to continue to train our people? Was it that we weren't taking care of our folks? Was it that we treated them like some expendable asset instead of like human beings? And so I have a real big problem with the definition of that respect means engaging and empowering the people closest to the work so that they can assess the current condition, create solutions to problems, and standardize what's working. A project team will assess the current condition, create solutions to problems, and standardize what's working when they create those collaborative environments and when they start listening to workers and people that are already doing those things. It's insulting to think that by some benevolence of the construction project team that all of a sudden people will start assessing the condition, creating solutions, and standardize what's working. People naturally do that as human beings. It doesn't happen by your benevolence. All you have to do is start listening. And by the way, you'll never be able to listen to people until you respect them. And you won't respect them until we get these fundamentals down. And so I'm going to reframe this and close this down right now. We engage and empower and support people because we respect the nature of people, their families, and everybody that we work with, just as a part of being a human. We ensure that our listening and our collaboration goes all the way to the people that are closest to the work, so that when we as a business, as a secondary priority to taking care of people, attempt to increase the bottom line and increase production, we can better assess the current condition, create solutions to problems, and standardize what's working, which will not only benefit us, but the people that are working on the front lines as well. And so if I was going to continue this as a part of respect for people, have nice bathrooms, lunchrooms, cleanliness, safety, organization, worker huddles, barbecues, rewards, open communication, and really remarkable and enjoyable environments because we respect people, and that's our culture, and that's why we're in business. Period. End of story. That's what we do. That's what we do day in and day out. Production and increasing the bottom line is something that we do separately once that's already done for the right reasons. And we don't do those things for people just because we're going to get something in return. We don't give to get. We just give, and then we run our business. Let me say that again. We don't give to get. We just give and do the right thing, and then we also on the side run our business. That's how it works. That's the system. We have to get out of the concept of I'm not doing this because I don't have the budget for it, or I'm not doing this because I'm not going to get what I want, or the workers don't deserve it, or, well, they didn't treat me right, or that's never worked for me before, or keeping nice bathrooms is hard, or. Who gives a flying cuss word? You do the right thing because it's the right thing. You don't stop doing the right thing because somebody else is doing something like two wrongs don't make a right, just like we learned when we were kids. If somebody doesn't appreciate it or isn't treating you right, that doesn't absolve you from doing the right thing. We do respectful environments. We create respectful environments simply because it's the right thing and because that's what we're supposed to do. And so I hope this podcast has been really helpful. I do strongly disagree with that original definition, and I do want to get the point across that I am personally tired, and I'll pick on you PMs out there. I'm personally tired of PMs telling me whether or not something that we should be doing is in the budget. I don't care about your stupid budget. I don't care. Find another way to pay for it. A budget is the amount that you can spend on something without further permission. A budget, when it comes to general conditions and requirements, is the amount of money you can spend on something without further permission. So go freaking get permission and do the right thing. I don't want to hear ever again, and I want everybody to hear me. None of you PMs or PEs ever even think about saying the words, I don't have the budget, when I ask to increase the number of cleanings on a bathroom. Don't ever tell me that we didn't carve out money for something when I ask to provide a lunch area. Don't ever tell me that we don't have time to go do a worker huddle. Don't tell me these things. Just go do it because it's the right thing to do. And so you're on restriction. Don't tell me about your budget. Tell me about how you are going to respect the nature of people and do the right thing. On we go.
Please join us next time in elevating the entire construction experience for workers, leaders, and companies coast to coast. If you're enjoying the show, please feel free to share with your construction colleagues and help us spread the word by rating, subscribing, and